Hey, I'm back. So I decided to do another project that's about Pokemon, because I'm expressing my love for the series I loved since I was a kid, and what else is better than expressing my opinion on their most recent main series game, Sword and Shield, and oh boy, it's going to be something. This one is what I liked from the games, and what I disliked as well. I'll start with points I really do not care for, to the points that I actually care for. Let's begin what I disliked from Sword and Shield to get the nasty and other feelings aside from enjoyment out of the way for this game. Then we can go to the things that are, in my opinion, pretty cool in the games. Let's begin. Alright, I'm just gonna flat out and say it. I don't care if there's no national dex in these games. There, I said it. Okay. Enough joking around and let me elaborate better, since this topic is very controversial in the community. Sword and Shield had some controversy. May I remind you before the game was even released, that there's going to be a cut into the decks and that there's going to be no national decks. Even though the last generation Sun and Moon, along with Ultra Sun and Moon, had no national decks, you can still have old Pokemon from previous games in their files. Yet, with Sword and Shield's case, you can't do that. Pokemon is not the first RPG to cut monsters or creatures you can catch/have in their game. One example would be from another franchise that's also focused on catching monsters is the lesser known franchise, Digimon. From what I can confirm that there's at least 1200 Digimon, of course counting the older versions of some Digimon like different modes or recolors of some, etc. In a recent game in the franchise, Digimon Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, all the Digimon weren't present and just put in a set amount like Sword and Shield did. Another would be Yokai Watch, another RPG that's similar to Pokemon. In Yokai Watch 4, it only had 110 plus yokai that you can befriend in the game. However, it was confirmed that in later patches they are planning on adding in the 800 plus yokai in the games later on. Which is what Game Freak plans to do with the upcoming DLC. It has been confirmed that there will be over 200 Pokemon returning in the games due to the DLC. The information about Pokemon coming back was confirmed back in January in a Pokemon Direct, stated by Game Freak's Junichi Masuda himself. Masuda stated,
"On the Isle of Armor and in the Crown Tundra, you'll see some familiar Pokemon that didn't appear in the Galar region before. There will be more than 200 Pokemon species that appear in these areas, and you can add to your team, including the legendary Pokemon mentioned before.
Additionally, we'll be distributing free updates for Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield that will coincide with the releases of the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. These updates will allow people who don't have the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield expansion pass to obtain the Pokemon that appear on the Isle of Armor and in the Crown Tundra through other means, such as trading. Players will also be able to bring over Pokemon to their games from the cloud service Pokemon Home, as long as the Pokemon appear in the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield expansion packs."
so that should help clear that up. Galar, the region that takes place in Sword and Shield. Galar is basically the UK just flipped upside down. Boom, you got Galar. Found the region very bland and not that interesting. It felt very empty and I just couldn't find anything that stood out the most. Like the cities and towns weren't that memorable, and there just weren't any landmarks that will make me think of Galar. Granted, some cities were fun to look at, like Circhester City and Balanlea Town. From previous generations, there are at least some things I remember, whether it's a landmark or a city and town that automatically makes me think of that region. I'll bring up Sinnoh for an example. In Sinnoh, you got lots of things you can do. You got the underground, Mount Coronet, the Spear Pillar, the lakes that have the lake trio residing in them, Howe Park, and even the 3 areas when you beat the game, like the fight area, survival area, and resort area. I can list more since Sinnoh had tons of content in it. Compared to Sinnoh, Galar had no dungeons to explore, no caves, or just anything that could flat out explore without being a linear path. I thought at first the wild area was going to be an open space area, but it didn't. It ended up being a linear path that takes you from point A to point B. That was disappointing. And really hoping the Crown Tundra would be what the wild area was supposed to be. I'm just a little salty the mines weren't really mines and I didn't get to ride a mine cart. That would have been cool, Game Freak. When you play a Pokemon game, you honestly don't pay attention much to the story, since the main aspect of this franchise is catching and training Pokemon to become a champion. It's basically copy and paste from one game to another. You're a kid who starts out on an adventure, who catches Pokemon on their journey. In this journey, you gather badges from gym leaders or in Sword and Shield stadiums, since the whole aspect of badge collecting is like sports. You also ended up being the chosen one, who saves the region from whatever doom and despair some evil organization or team wants to do to take over the world or region. Simple enough, right? Though I felt this story was very rushed in this game, especially in the near end. That was a mess, and I hated every last minute of it. Like, all of a sudden, the staff for the tournament was a bad guy who works under the chairman, and Oleana, his secretary. She didn't want you to interfere with Rose's plans with the champion Leon, and she made this guy have the key to let you go to the champion since he was with the chairman in a huge tower called Rose Tower, which is later the Battle Tower. Overall, all you wanted to do was find Leon with Hop, because your match with the champion is coming up, and Hop suggested, "Hey, my brother isn't here yet, even though he invited us for dinner plans for your upcoming match. Something must be wrong. Why don't we go find him, since you know he's late and bad in directions?" Or should I say pants with directions, since Hop actually said that in game. I'm not kidding. He actually said this to Leon, and I just... Is this slang in the UK or something? Somebody please explain what being pants at direction even means. Chairman Rose. I have a lot to say about this guy. Chairman Rose is, as his title states, the chairman of the Galar region. He appears frequently throughout the story, being the one to endorse one of your rivals, Bede, and the one that the game later reveals, the antagonist. For a villain, Rose has to be one of the worst ones we ever got in a Pokemon game. Rose is trying to prevent the Darkest Day, an event that happened 1,000 years ago in the past, from happening to secure Galar's energy from a crisis that would happen 1,000 years in the future, by causing a second Darkest Day to happen to make a near infinite supply of energy. Logic! Rose is the type of villain that has good intentions, but the way he acts on these intentions is pretty horrible. It's like the main antagonists of Ruby and Sapphire, Maxie and Archie. Their respective goals were to flood and dry up the Hoenn region using Groudon and Kyogre. It was very bad, and Rose only did the same thing with this weird space dragon thing called Eternatus that doesn't explain where or how he even got it in the first place. It just came out of nowhere, and Game Freak should have done better on writing out this character. To improve the story, they could have made Rose appear like a good guy and how he wants to save Galar. But, plot twist, he had ulterior motives with Eternatus and wants to rule over Galar instead. Maybe use some background information we got in, like how he was a trainer once and worked hard over the years to reach the top, and use that power to rule with Eternatus. Use Eternatus to get rid of Leon, since Leon is considered the strongest trainer and could be a threat to Rose's plans, and lie to Leon telling him he needs to catch it, but get rid of him for good. This is just an idea I came up with, but it's at least better than what we've got. They wanted to have Rose be a more neutral villain, but due to their poor writing and lack of explanation, it did not succeed. The lore that Sword and Shield had. What lore? Sword and Shield tried really hard to push this lore on the legendaries, such as the Dire Wolves, Zacian, and Zamazenta, and the alien, Eternatus. I felt there weren't any questions answered and just more popped up. They talked about these two heroes and said they supposedly used the wolves you encounter in Slumbering Weald to stop the Darkest Day. They didn't really explain much about them. At first, the hero was described as being one man that wielded a sword and shield, but it was then revealed that one man was actually two, and the sword and shield were the wolves. It was very confusing at first what they were trying to tell me. For Eternatus, he apparently came from a meteorite out of space and is the reason how Pokemon are able to Dynamax because his power is leaking out in the form of Galar particles. Pieces of his body are the wishing pieces, along with wishing chips and stars that rain down throughout Galar. I guess that's how the power spots in the gym stadium were made, but I felt they didn't explain this very well, and I had to look further into this on Bulbapedia. Rose is using Eternatus as his power supply from outer space, and uses that power to make Pokemon bigger. He sends B to search for more pieces of Eternatus for his plan to prevent an event that Eternatus caused by using Eternatus. Did they even explain how Rose even found Eternatus? It said in its Pokedex entry it was from a meteorite that landed 20,000 years ago and is apparently the connection on how Pokemon even can Dynamax in the first place. And the main cause of the Darkest Day, since it caused Pokemon to randomly grow big and cause disasters throughout Galar. Was all of this explained in this game? Because I'm trying to remember if Sonia mentioned this or Rose did. I'm getting a headache from trying to make sense of this. Let's get to the more positive things and what I actually liked from the game. The reason I decided on putting the DLC as a point on what I like about Sword and Shield is that Game Freak decided to do something different instead of making a third installment. Whether it be a sequel or the same game with just added on content. But we didn't get any of that and are getting more content without spending an extra $60 or maybe more if they decided on doing 2 installments instead of 1. We don't have too much information about the DLC, though I'm mainly looking forward to the one being released in the fall of this year, which could be November when Sword and Shield is at least a year old. We also get more Pokemon added in, at least over 200 of them, including all the legendaries in the form of Max Rays and Dens, which sounds very fun to do, along with new legendaries like Kubfu and its evolutions, Urshifu, and the other legendary, Calyrex. They even gave Galarian forms to Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, legendary elemental birds from Kanto. Game Freak says the 2 areas will focus on a theme. For the Isle of Armor, we'll be focusing on growth, while the Crown Tundra will focus on exploration. And hearing the word exploration, which hopefully means the dungeons we didn't get in the main game, and perhaps more areas that aren't strictly a linear path, and have optional areas that aren't part of the story. Unfortunately, we don't know much about the Crown Tundra, but the Isle of Armor will be trained by a previous champion of Galar and Leon's own mentor, Mustard. Hopefully I'll be able to say whatever new information DLC gives us without having it being spoiled on the internet. When you play an RPG, or a role-playing game, you will often encounter grinding, fighting weaker enemies to gain the needed levels on your characters. Pokemon is no exception, and in previous games, it could be very time-consuming. Sword and Shield implemented a new item called Experience Candies, and they come in various sizes that give each of your Pokemon a dedicated amount of experience. This not only helps casual players, but competitive players as well. If you have enough candies, you can get a level 1 to a level 100 in about a few seconds. Even though I have some issues with specific characters from Sword and Shield, I feel that their designs are some of Pokemon's best work yet. The characters I enjoyed the most are the gym leaders. I love all the designs and the fact that they have uniforms based around the type of Pokemon they use. Unfortunately, as it is with a lot of Pokemon games, they're pretty easy if you know your typings. Some of them may not have much personality, but I cannot help but adore them anyways. Other characters I felt were good were the rivals, two of which went through some decent character development. Pop went from being your rival that wanted to become champion like his older brother, Leon, to wanting to train as a Pokemon professor alongside Sonia. This is similar to Bianca's story, but rather than changing his mind in the middle of the game like she did, he waited until the post-game. B had started out being an overly cocky kid who later on mellows out and is more down to earth. He was endorsed by the chairman and later became a disciple for Opal, an Fairy-type gym leader in Galar. Marnie got the short end of the stick when it came to development. All she did was battle us a couple of times and then became the gym leader of Spike Muff's gym once her older brother retired. Kinda like how Charon became the gym leader in the sequel of Black and White. As for the champion, Leon, I felt he wasn't too bad of a champion. His team wasn't much of a challenge for me, though in my opinion, I wish he had a different Pokemon rather than Charizard as his ace. It certainly makes sense to me that the Galar's champion has a Kanto Pokemon and not one from the region. They could have done the similar route with Cynthia and Steven and give Leon the pseudo Pokemon like Dragapult as his ace and let it have a Gigantamax form. But he got a Charizard. Great. Can we talk about the Pokemon in Galar? Because wow, there's so many Pokemon I loved while playing this game. There's so many references to the United Kingdom's culture and so many new type combos we got. We actually got an Imp Pokemon! Finally! And they all have good designs. I love the typing, Dark and Fairy type. It's new and I love it. We also got a Pokemon based off of a dessert, all creamy. I absolutely love her. I love how we got more regional forms for old Pokemon and even some old Pokemon who got a new form gained a new evolution. Such as Galarian Lion can evolve into Obstagoon. I love it. Hoenn is getting some representation and there's love for other regions too with these new forms. Generation 2 got Galarian Corsola that can evolve into Cursula. Generation 5 got regional Darumaka and Darmanitan. There's a Mr. Mime evolution. It's just so nice to see these Pokemon get some attention and love that they deserve. I'm looking forward to more regional forms that will appear in the DLC. We only got one revealed to us, the Slowpoke line. Hopefully, we'll get more, and I'm excited to see what Game Freak can come up with. Max Raid battles are a new type of battle that was introduced in Sword and Shield. In them, you can either team up with 3 computer players or 3 other players to take down either a Dynamax or a Gigantamax Pokemon. If you win, you get the chance to capture the Pokemon and get some nice rewards out of it, such as the previously mentioned experience candies, tentacle records that help your Pokemon learn new moves, and even items that are meant to be sold for in-game currency, like the rare bones or star pieces. These giant Pokemon are the game's main gimmick, akin to the Mega Evolutions introduced in X and Y or the Z moves introduced in Sun and Moon. I do like the concept and being able to battle with my friends on my side, and several of the Gigantamax designs are great, but I feel it is too similar to the Mega Evolutions, except instead of lasting the whole battle, it only lasts for 3 turns. Nearly all available Pokemon have the ability to at least Dynamax, but only a select few can Gigantamax. This is probably why the decision was made to only have it last 3 turns as opposed to Mega Evolutions which lasted until the Pokemon faded or until the end of the battle, whichever came first. All Dynamax Pokemon get the ability to use their Max moves, which correspond to whichever move type they currently have. And Gigantamax Pokemon get this in a special move referred to as a G-Max move, based on their species and type. For example, a Dynamax Pikachu could gain access to moves like Max Lightning, Max Strike, or Max Starfall. But only a Gigantamax Pikachu can have its electric type moves replaced with G-Max Volt Crash. Max raid battles are more active with the help of the events Game Freak is releasing every month. During an event, you're given the chance to encounter a Gigantamax Pokemon in a den to catch, or there will be a theme. For example, one event that I liked was the Milcery event. Milcery is a Pokemon that doesn't have the ability to Gigantamax, but its evolution Creamy does. With the added bonus of giving you toppings, you can have any flavor and topping and have the ability to Gigantamax. Probably my favorite event I enjoyed doing, and looking forward to more events Game Freak is planning on releasing. If I had to rate this game a 1 out of 10, I would rate Sword and Shield a 4.5 out of 10. It's just slightly below average. It's not bad, but it's not the greatest game ever. It's just average. Overall, I think Sword and Shield as a game was fun to play. However, my issue is that this game is pretty average. It has decent characters, graphics are nice to look at, I love the Pokemon that were introduced in this game, I had fun with the raids and enjoyed the game for what it is. The story felt rushed and was poorly written, and the villain was lacking. Based on what we got, it seemed that they wanted Rose to be a more neutral evil. But they did not accomplish that too well due to how Rose was written. The region felt empty and there's not much in it to do aside from doing raids in the wild area. The games were okay, but they needed improvements in a lot of areas. Galar had a lot of potential to be a decent region to explore in, and had a lot of lore and world building if Game Freak put more care into these games. And I feel that they can do better. These games just felt unfinished, and it saddens me because I fear that the franchise will continue down a path this game has laid down. Hopefully, the DLC or other potential updates will bring some much needed improvement. Alright, we're done? Yeah, I'm done.